What is going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be doing a running Q&A, answering all your questions about all things running. So let's dive into it. Before we get into this video, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. That's how I can continue to make these videos, and that's how you can support me. And click that notification bell to be notified anytime we upload a new video. All right, so yesterday on Instagram, I put out a story post asking for you guys to send me all of your questions about running. And I got a lot of responses, so I want to go through all of these. I'm gonna try and keep this as candid and natural and comfortable as I can. I haven't even looked at the questions yet. I want to go through, answer them off the cuff, pass on some knowledge about running, and just make us all better runners. So let's do it. All right, question number one. How to get started again after falling out of shape. You know, just like anything else with running, is just ease back into it. You don't wanna go out too hot and risk getting injured again. And so I would say just take it easy. Start with, 10-minute runs at a time, 20-minute runs at a time. So ease into it. My first 5K is next month. What should I have for breakfast before the 5K? For me, I like to have a banana, a little bit of honey, maybe an English muffin if it's a longer race, a few scoops of Tailwind, some electrolytes, and that's just the morning before the race. The day before, I'll kind of do all of that, but just on a bigger scale. Really carb up, sodium up. How to choose my half marathon race pace. I want to PR, but I don't want to go too fast. That's a good question. And for me, I like to pick a time that one is going to challenge me and two seems like a realistic goal I can achieve if I work hard enough. I don't want to pick something that I can think about, okay, I think I could go run that today, because that's not hard enough. It's not a big enough challenge. So I like to pick something that I know is going to challenge me. I know I'm going to have to work for, but is within the realm of possibility based on my past experiences. Do you recommend both cardio and strength training on the same day or split them up? I don't think there's any issue at all with doing strength training and cardio or running in the same day. I do it several times every single week. On days that I do lift and run, I tend to run in the mornings, first thing in the morning, 6, 7 a.m., and then lift in the evenings, just because when I go for a run, I want to feel light. I prefer to run fasted if possible. And I feel like I lift heavier in the evenings as well, because I have had some food and energy in my system all day. So personally, I like running in the morning, lifting in the evenings. How did getting a coach help? Your first marathon time was pretty close to sub 3. My first marathon I did my own training program all by myself. Ran a 3:01, 3 hours, 54 seconds. And then I worked with Jeff Cunningham for about 14 weeks, and he got me down to 2:58.16. And even though the difference in time was only about a 3-minute difference, the way I felt throughout the prep and the way I felt after the race was like night and day working with Jeff. I negative split my 2:58. I think my last mile was like 45 seconds faster than my average pace, because I just felt so good at the end of that, because I trained properly, I tapered properly. Versus my first marathon I did myself, I positive split, I guess you would say. I was dying. I was laying on the ground for like 30 minutes after the race, because I really didn't train properly and I didn't taper properly, all these different things. So getting a coach for me helped significantly. And the other thing with the coach is the accountability factor, and really just the confidence that a coach gives you in that you're doing the workouts you're supposed to be doing, the mileage you're supposed to be doing, and they kind of take care of everything else for you. All you have to do is show up and run. And for me, that was very helpful. From our good friend, Kobe Mack. I have the runs really bad and can't get them to solidify. What do you recommend? I think we're talking about a different kind of running here. Kobe, I would say get a little more fiber in your diet. Try and eat some more vegetables. Get your ass off the couch. And I don't know, maybe that'll help you. I don't know. Good luck with that. How far from a race would you advise to stop strength training? So in the middle of a prep, I will strength train 3 times a week, a push day, a pull day, and a leg day. And then about 4 weeks out from the race, I will stop leg days completely, because I want to give my legs as much time as possible to really recover and stay dialed in for those weeks leading up to the race. And then for upper body, I will still lift upper body 2-3 times a week, but I will reduce the weight that I'm lifting. And I'll keep the same volume, but I'll just lower the weight, increase the reps, because I'm not trying to add size. I'm not trying to add a lot of strength. I'm just trying to kind of maintain that strength and fitness that I already have. What are your tapers like? So I usually start tapering 10 to 14 days out from the race, depending on the distance of the race. For a marathon, about 14 days. And the thing with tapers is you want to find that sweet spot where you're not losing fitness that you've built, but you're giving yourself enough time to recharge and recuperate from the months of training you've put in, so that way on race day you can go in feeling fresh without losing that fitness. So it's kind of this balance that you have to find. And for me, it's that 10 to 14 days out from the race. I'll reduce it by 30 to 60%, somewhere in that range. My intervals will get a lot slower, so I'm not pushing as hard. My long runs will get shorter. I'll have more rest days incorporated, really just giving my body more time to recover and recharge for race day. I have wide feet. Are there any carbon plated shoes you would recommend? For carbon plated shoes, I love the Saucony Endorphin Pros. I love the Nike Vaporflies, the Nike Alpha Flies. I love the New Balance RC Elites. As far as wide feet, those are all pretty narrow. Out of all those three, I would say the New Balances are the widest. The Sauconys and the Nikes are pretty narrow, so those might not be for you, but I'm sure that there are other options out there for wide feet. Is it important to log enough miles or stick to a plan? I would say yes to both of those. I think those are two different questions. Obviously, it's important to log enough miles depending on which race you're trying to do. For a 50-mile race, you probably want to be hitting anywhere between 50 to 70 miles a week. For a marathon, you probably want to be hitting anywhere between 35 to 60 miles a week. A half marathon, 20 to 40 miles a week is usually pretty good. Again, just depends on your goals and what you're trying to do. What marathon or ultramarathon do you want to complete besides Boston? I'd really love to do the World Marathon Majors, which is a series of 6 marathons. It is Boston, Chicago, New York, London, Berlin, and Tokyo. As far as ultramarathons, I'd love to do the Western States at some point. Leadville would be really cool to do. And eventually, I might consider a crazy race like the Moab 240 or one of those really long distances just to do it, kind of a bucket list thing. I'm not planning on doing those anytime soon, but at some point, I think I'd like to do those. What was your favorite place to run in Greenville? I'm assuming this is talking about Greenville, South Carolina, where we lived before we moved here to Austin. And Greenville was an amazing running city. Trail runs, I loved running at Paris Mountain State Park. There was like 15, 20 miles of single track trail. And then for road running, I loved the Swamp Rabbit Trail, which was like 20 miles of just straight paved running paths. And that was epic, went right through downtown Greenville, which is beautiful. I definitely miss running in Greenville. It's a great running city. Benjamin Kelly, when we running together? Benjamin, dude, come to Austin. We'll go hit a run together. We're running downtown Austin every Saturday morning. Come tag along and we'll hit some miles together. How to get a 10-minute per mile pace to 8:30-ish. Just like everything else with running, it's just going to take time and consistency. If you continue to run your easy miles easy under your max aerobic heart rate, and you do that over and over and over again, it might take some people weeks, it might take some people months, other people might take years, but at some point you're going to become faster and your body's going to become more efficient and you're going to be able to reduce your average minute per mile pace. So just keep at it, stay consistent. Do you think supplements are necessary for performance? Yes. I don't think supplements should be a staple of your diet. I mean, the word supplement itself means to supplement your pre-existing diet, which should, in my opinion, be a whole foods diet. No processed foods, no seed oils, no added sugars. So putting whole foods diet first, getting your nutrients from that whenever possible, and then adding supplements to kind of fill the gaps in your nutrition. And it's kind of like an insurance for your health. And I take vitamins every day. I take BCAAs, I take protein, electrolytes, all these different things to help me reach my peak performance and be in my best physical shape as possible. When running, are you videoing with a GoPro or camera? Well, those are both cameras, but for the most part, if I'm just filming something for social media, it's going to be on my phone, this one right here. If it's something for YouTube, it's likely going to be on my GoPro. Sometimes I'll take my phone. I have the GoPro Hero 8, which takes great video, 4K video. Love both cameras. I found the GoPro is a little bit more stable and easier to carry when you're running, but I think the video on the phones look a little bit better, so a little bit of both. Did you ever deal with an injury before in a prep? If so, how did you deal with it? Yes, I think just like almost every runner out there, when I first started getting into running, I had shin splints, I had some like mild plantar fasciitis, I had some like weird knee pain, which ended up being runner's knee. And really my take on these injuries is if it's bad enough that it just hurts the entire run and you literally can't run without just being in constant pain, then take time off and let it heal itself. And if you need to, go see a doctor or a physical therapist and have them help you. But if it's something that doesn't inhibit you from running and you're still able to go on your daily runs and it's kind of just like an annoying ache, in my experience, those things kind of just go away. I might just be lucky on that end. And the biggest thing is just being in tune with your body and knowing how hard you can push it before you injure yourself. But like for me, when I had shin splints, I would roll out my lower legs before and after every run. I'd roll it out in the middle of the day. I was very conscious about preventing it and finding a remedy for it. And over time, it slowly kind of just went away. So that might not be the best answer, but if it doesn't stop you from running, I would say keep running, keep working on it, and hopefully it goes away. If not, take some time off. How to effectively stretch before and after runs, long, short, and easy runs. From my experience and the research that I've done, to properly warm up before a run, you want to do more dynamic stretching like high knees, butt kickers, lunges, karaoke, some leg swings. You don't want to do a ton of static stretching before you run. It's not really going to do a whole lot. It's not going to cause an injury, but it won't do as much for you. You want to get your heart rate up before you go for a run. So you want to do some just like light warm-up stuff. And then after the run, that's when you can do some more static stuff and really take time to go into some deep stretches and really help those muscles recover after a run. How far were you running when you started using gels? I've heard mixed answers on this. When I first started running and I was doing like my first 4 to 5 mile runs, I thought I needed gels. I really didn't need them, but it was kind of just like a peace of mind thing, and it helped me mentally to get through those runs. But now I usually don't take gels unless I'm running anything over 10 miles. And when I do take gels, it's usually one every 30 to 45 minutes or so. So like during my marathon, I was taking one every 4 miles-ish. But really nutrition, it's a lot of personal preference, what works for you and your stomach and what you can handle. So that's really just something you got to kind of experiment with on your own. What is your go-to for satisfying a sweet tooth? Ooh, I have a real problem with the sweet tooth. Most nights after dinner, I have to have something. I don't have to, but I crave it for sure. Usually I'll have like a bowl of cereal. I like healthier cereal. I don't do a lot of like sugary cereals. Even sometimes just having like a glass of milk will help. Dark chocolate is really good. Sometimes just some berries will satisfy that sweet tooth. I try to not do things with a lot of added sugar. So if I can, try and do some more whole foods options. What to do if you feel burnt out from running? Ooh, that's a good question. And something I've definitely suffered from. During my last marathon build, I felt like towards the end I was getting a little burnt out. And one thing I like to think about when it comes to being burnt out is, are you really burnt out from what you're doing, or are you just kind of bored from what you're doing and you need something else to stimulate your mind? And I think that's kind of what happened to me is I wasn't really burnt out. Like physically I was okay, but mentally I was just like, okay, we're going on another run. We got another 8 to 9 mile easy run today. And I think I just started to get almost a little bored of running and I needed something else to stimulate myself. So if you're feeling burnt out, maybe just switch it up a little bit. Maybe you just need to add in some more speed workouts to your routine or add in some trail runs, something to like help switch it up a little bit so you're not just running the same routes, running the same workouts every single week, because a lot of times you're not really burnt out, you are just getting bored with your routine. Why do I keep getting injured? Pierce B. Townsend, I don't know why you keep getting injured, because I don't know what your training looks like. Maybe you're running too many miles, or you're running too fast on your miles. Maybe you're not sleeping enough. Maybe you're not recovering hard enough. Maybe you're not getting the proper nutrition. There could be a whole plethora of things as to why you keep getting injured with running. And you kind of just have to do some trial and error to figure out exactly what that thing might be. So hopefully that helps, Pierce. How to run downhill without banging up my quads and knees. I don't know if you really can run downhill without using your quads and knees. I would say, maybe in the gym, do more exercises like single leg deadlifts, single leg squats. You know, like the knees over toes guy has some great exercises for strengthening your knees and your quads. Reverse sled pulls are great for knees and quads. Probably just spending more time A, in the gym, and B, running downhill. You know, the best way to get better at something is to just do it repeatedly. So run downhill more, and you're probably going to find that it's easier to run downhill over time. What do you do for leg recovery? For leg recovery, I use a massage gun. I'll massage out my legs. I will use a muscle roller stick. I'll roll out my legs. I will use a lacrosse ball, which is more for feet and lower legs, to roll out my feet. My favorite by far is the cold plunge. I know not everybody has access to something like that, but even cold showers or dumping ice in your bathtub would suffice. I would say the cold plunge is probably the #1 recovery tool that I use because that's where I see the most results and the most benefits. I've also found that walking helps a lot. If I have a long run in the morning and then I go for a walk that evening or the next morning, that helps get the blood moving and keeps everything loosened up. And really what promotes recovery the most is blood circulation. So doing anything that's going to get your blood moving through your body and get blood to those muscles that are recovering. So even some light active recovery like swimming or biking is also great. Really just anything that gets your blood pumping. Is it effective to run twice or even 3 times a day? If you're training for a half marathon or a marathon, it's probably not going to do you any good to run multiple times a day. If you're training for an ultra or a longer distance event, then yes, definitely running multiple times a day would be beneficial. Some of those shorter races where you're kind of relying more on your speed, I don't really see any benefit in running more than once a day. I think you're going to overwork yourself and you're not going to be able to perform as well as you need to on your long runs and your speed workouts. If I haven't run in a while and I want to do a marathon, how long should I train? For a marathon build, I would recommend 14 to 16 weeks. Depending on your past experience. I would say if you're coming in with no experience whatsoever, maybe 16 to 18 weeks. But if you're already coming out of a marathon and you're going to do another one, or you already have prior running experience, I would say 14 weeks is probably enough. Tailwind or G&M Sport for ultras, 50 miles or more. I prefer Tailwind for those longer events, mostly just because it's easier on my stomach, and for me it's easier to consume. It's a little bit lighter, more mild flavor. And during my 50-mile race, I started with G&M, and after a little bit I couldn't do it anymore, so I had to switch to Tailwind, and I had no issues with it after that. But just a personal preference. How important is the right clothing and footwear for running? Clothing, probably not as important as your shoes or your footwear. I think shoes are definitely the most important. Finding a pair that works for your feet. Everybody's body's different, everybody's feet are different, everybody's stride is different. So finding what shoes work for you is probably going to make the biggest difference. As you know, I just ran my first 50K. How long does the recovery process take? Terry, that is incredible, man. I'm super impressed. Your first ultra went out and crushed 32 miles through the mountains in Wyoming. That's awesome, man. For me, the recovery process, usually it's about a week before I feel back to normal after any kind of race. I would say just go really hard on recovery, ice baths, massage guns, walking, active recovery, all that stuff I mentioned earlier. Yeah, I think you can get back to feeling normal after about 7 to 10 days. How to prevent stomach rot in ultras. I'm assuming you're referring to just stomach issues during ultras. And I would say the biggest thing is to test everything during your training. Don't be consuming things race week that you normally wouldn't consume, and don't be taking things at the aid stations or throughout the race that you didn't practice in your training. That's probably the worst thing you can do in an ultra is start introducing new foods race week and on race day. Dial in your nutrition during training. That's why it's called training. And that way you show up race day and you don't even have to think about it. Do you use any meal services to help with your high volume of training and nutritional needs? Yes, I actually just started working with Ice Age Meals. If you don't know Ice Age Meals, they're a meal prep service who delivers high quality, whole foods, paleo meals right to your front door. It's super convenient. I eat one pretty much every single day. Like I said, it's all whole foods, no processed ingredients, no added sugars, no seed oils, none of that crap. Just all whole foods, paleo meal prep, and they are so good and so healthy for you. I highly recommend them. Rip your toenails off when they die. It's not really a question, but yes, I will rip my toenails off when they die, and I have ripped my toenails off when they die. Best advice for my first ultra, it's a 24-hour endurance run. Ooh, 24 hours. I would say train as much as you can to simulate what your course and race is going to be like. I would do a couple of long runs that kind of simulate race day. I would dial in your nutrition. I would recover really hard. I would do all these things, that I've talked about throughout this video, and really just prepare yourself so that when race day comes, there's no mystery as to what's going to happen. You can show up race day, give it your best effort, and that's all you got to worry about. What's a good app to track macros? I don't really track macros a lot, but if I do, I use MyFitnessPal. It is a free app. It's super easy to use. Yeah, very simple. MyFitnessPal. How to not be aggressively hungry after running. I think that is natural to be real hungry after runs. And it's just, you're burning a lot more calories than you're used to. So listen to your body. And if you're super, super hungry, then go eat some food. All right, guys, that is the Q&A. Thank you so much for sending in all those questions. I think the best part about these Q&As is when people send in questions, there tends to be a lot of repetitive questions, which is good because it means everybody's going through the same things. Everybody's having the same issues or having the same successes, which is great because, it means you're not alone on this running journey. But thank you guys again for all the questions. Thanks for watching this video. Make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Hey guys, thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed this one, make sure to check out this video right here. I know you're gonna like it. It's a good one, so go check it out. Tell me what you think. Make sure you like and subscribe, do all that stuff. Comment, share it with your friends. I appreciate it. See you in the next one.